The origin of puddle paintings has to go back to the very beginning of painting on canvas. So as soon as you're going to stretch a canvas and try to get it perfectly flat, the next thing is, well, why perfectly flat? Why not put an alteration in the canvas that then the painting reacts to? The initial thought was to create a concavity that mimics a depression, a puddle, a crater, and then the response to that is the liquid material, and how the liquid material is going to find its level with the horizon line, with the earth, and how that concavity is going to create that ability. And so as an opposite force, just recently, there's been this pushing up where now you're creating a peak and a valley, and there's this double force that the liquid material has to sort of navigate. The liquid component is all about elements suspended in water. The paint has either sat over a period of time, it's been diluted so much that the binder and the components of the paint that try to make them behave equally starts to separate out, allowing them to really take on their natural process of the ingredients and what the pigment actually wants to do as it settles and as it falls to the bottom or rises to the top in reaction to the surface of the canvas. And I feel like there's a deep connection to the earth and the environment that we're in as things are trying to take their natural position. Whether we can see the horizon line or not, it's evident in everything around us. It gives us our stability, it gives us our balance, and it sets our place. This circular shape is like seeing all the horizon line in one point as the paint drops below the surface of the painting. And whether the painting is leveled or not, the paint is going to level, and it's going to level with all the other water on the planet. And there's something significant about that as one pool spills into another pool and join, or as the paint drains from the surrounding surface and pools into the center. Of course, like a lot of the work, the original invention took place inside of a stack piece. So these stack pieces are continuums, like timelines, and you move from one section to another, and there's a difference from one side of a section to the other side, but there's no clear orientation of front or back, top or bottom. So the original pieces had these substructures underneath, and everything was pulled from the back. And you either were aware of that when you flipped through a stack, or you weren't aware of it when they became more independent and became larger and hung on the wall. And through a whole different set of experiments, I started to expose the actual force on the front of the painting with wire and these little hand-carved sticks. And that became significant for me because it almost starts to read like a compass or an orientation, and it gives the viewer what was hidden behind the older canvases up front and on top of the canvas. But it's not prominent. It's maybe the second or third thing you see, not the first thing you see. So that's been a little bit about the evolution of these paintings, from just the straight up fascination of stretching canvas and how it happens, to the substructure that laid behind the canvas that caused these shapes, to now that structure is on the front and the back simultaneously, as the newest work in this show reveals. This is a different subject now, but there's also something with the idea that a rectangular format or a square format painting slowly merges into a circular shape. And one of the things that crosses that in a little bit more clear way or more visual way is these cast plaster discs, because they're sort of struggling to become rectangles, but they're still elliptical or circular in their formation. What they are is they're a cast of the space that's in front of a puddle painting, and an extreme expression of fragility. You know, that they come to a very thin knife's edge. The opposite of those are these wire pieces. These paintings now being the pressure point being revealed from the front with this small wooden stick and this taut stainless steel braided cable. Once the wire is released in a painting that's maybe being recycled or turned into something else, they spring into this natural shape where the tension is released and the wires just curl around and make this natural composition. So this is sort of an isolation on a blank white background of just this released tension with this little stick. And it's another formation of this random happening. First, a very deliberate setup of the structure, and then the snipping of the wire and the random release of the tension. So these two pieces are sort of bookended on what is more prominent, which is the colorful canvas pieces. You know, there's a certain magic that happens when the painting is made, and most of the time you feel like you've reached 75% of the painting's potential. And there's a desire to do better than 75%. And so it in one way it's frustrating, but in another way it keeps you coming back and it keeps this practice alive for so many years.